going to be eating your sleep. You can't have a mask on. Keep the mask. You can't get some waivers. There's that one. All right, I'll do it. Well, we'll let the waivers get out because it's going to get a little chaotic. So we'll wait for that piece. But let's see. Did everybody get 2 drink tickets? Little red drink tickets? Of course, everyone got those. That's everyone's favorite. How about a wristband? Did everybody get a wristband? It should be a color: orange, pink, blue. If you didn't get a wristband, raise your hand. We'll get you one. That's going to get you on the go-karts and everything else. Okay, let's see. I can kill a little more time. Hey, Ash, where are you? What's the plan with the food, real quick?
Okay, so I'm gonna take this off so you can hear me real quick. So food is gonna be at 5. So I think we're gonna just do by tables. That way we don't have a lot of people out in the lines. There are 2 buffets, so I'll come around, go from table to table, and have you go up and get food. They will be speaking at the time, so try to keep volume at minimum. We are live streaming too for the people that weren't quite comfortable to be here, so I will say hi to them. If you did not get drink tickets, please raise your hand so I know.
Okay, that was top on your list.
How about a wristband? Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, so real quick, I think everyone's got waivers. If not, we'll get them to you. But we want to do a quick icebreaker real quick. Require everyone to stand up. Who's played rock, paper? Okay, this is the lame group. We're going to play what's called extreme rock, paper, scissors. And how that works, it's very simple. It narrows down. But half the room cheering against the other half, like Republicans and Democrats. It'll be awesome. So with that said, stand up, find someone next to you. When everyone's got a partner, we'll get started. Don't start yet. Don't start yet. You got to do it. All right, on the count of 3, we will start going, and then if you're the winner, this is on the honor code. It's not best of 3, it's 1 shot go. So 3, 2, 1, go!
No,
All right, who's still in? Put your hand up high. Hey, and I don't hear enough cheering from your support team. Let's do like. All right, well, with that, I'm going to invite all the steering committee members up to the front of the room.
Damn, I understand.
Downstairs, still checking people in. Can anyone prevent? Is anyone prevent? Here.
Our smaller gatherings, area-based, we probably have 5 areas around the Metroplex, and it's where you can get an extra networking plug and really get to know people outside of these larger monthly meetings.
Perfect. We got 3 more coming up. I think maybe we'll let them introduce themselves. For the time being, let's move on to the next item just to keep everything moving. If you're leading, I guess you were talking small groups. Yeah, go ahead and bam on that because there's more to it with the QR codes and everything else.
That was pretty much it. You feel we're gonna set up, the first event will be February 4th. It's the first Thursday of every month. We'll have the gatherings. Again, there'll be about 5 or 6 locations around the Metroplex, but I'm gonna base those locations off the information I get. I'm trying to make it convenient so we can get good turnout. Anyway, that's about it. Yeah, first round is on us, so that's another reason to come out.
Awesome, thank you, Turner. And then we're gonna jump, well, let me step back. Something new, I guess we started last year, but we're really gonna kick off with some more steam this year because of COVID really screwed with everyone's plans last year. As I mentioned earlier, YCC is now 277 people, and it started like a group of 20 to 40. And so it was very easy, it was smaller, half the size of this group, so it was very easy to make connections and get to know people's names and figure out what people were doing. At 270, I'm sorry, I want to learn every one of y'all's names, but it's going to be tough, but I'll try. But so what we've done is we've implemented some subcommittees, and what we've got up here is we have 5 subcommittees, I think, maybe there's 6. And those are just opportunities for you guys to get more plugged in and more involved with YCC, learn some people's names, networking, all of those reasons why you joined YCC. It gives you those opportunities to explore that and to develop the leadership skills that we want you to do. Let's see the last 3 here. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Cool. And then if you're the committee lead, stay up here. If you're not, y'all can go sit down.
Thanks. Everybody hear me all right? My name is Griffin. I'm a project manager with Manhattan Construction, and I am the membership chair. So if you don't like what you're seeing, you got some complaints, you'll see a survey come out from me after every meeting, and just fill that out and give us some feedback. We really do want to make these meetings for you guys, and just that you're enjoying them, you're getting something out of them. So take the time on that survey, give us some feedback, and welcome.
Hey guys, I'm Patty Wilkerson, Assistant PM Scouts Group. I'll be helping rent out, but I'll also be leading the Women's Construction Subcommittee. So feel free to reach out and ask any questions.
I'm Angela Winder. I'm a project manager at the grant company, and I am a membership vice chair, so I'm helping stay out.
Awesome, thank you. So committee leaders, go ahead and stay up here. We'll run through that. I think also, yeah, we're running right into food time. So while they're talking, they'll probably be dismissing table by table in the back. Let's start with Juan. You kind of already hit on it, but let's do media.
Sure, Michael. So what's our point with the media committee? As everybody knows, our industry is really, really big, but it's also very, very close. And we're going to rely on each and every one of you to be able to help us out and spotlight some of the key points that are going on in the industry. If you're doing some prefab work, go ahead and showcase that. If you have some critical things that you're doing in your job, go ahead and showcase that. This is the opportunity for each and one of you. If there's something that you specifically see that you guys are doing, well, go ahead and forward it over to us, or just go ahead and post on LinkedIn. And that's one of the next things we're going to talk about. The main platform that we're going to be using is LinkedIn. So if you already haven't done so, if you should have received in the newsletter, at the very bottom, if you go ahead and scroll down, you'll be able to go ahead and just click on that, and it'll take you straight to the LinkedIn page where you can be able to register and follow that. So if you see something, anything from YCC, we very are depending on everybody here to be able to share that and be able to expound on that information. So I look forward to seeing everybody, being able to work with everybody.
Let's go to Texo Foundation.
Hey guys, mine's actually kind of short and sweet right now because we'll expand on it here in a bit. But Texo Foundation basically supports Texo and all their efforts in the community. So whether that be high school, collegiate, basically trying to educate, recruit, train, and retain the biggest, brightest, best individuals in the industry, bring them all to DFW. That's basically our mission in Texo. So we support that effort, but you'll hear about that more here in a bit. Now we're going to government.
All right, Austin mentioned, but I'm Kyle, Austin mentioned with Polk, we work together on government affairs, and so TEXO's mission is to unify, advocate, and advance, and government affairs is really a part of all of that, but specifically the advocate part. And so y'all all saw and are very, very aware that we went through an election cycle, and it wasn't just at the top of the ballot, but all the way down, and so those decisions and those people elected to those positions have a direct impact on our industry as a whole, our companies, and our livelihood. And so we believe that we should have a seat at the table, have those relationships in place so that we can impact policy that really makes a difference. And so I would share personally, one, you've made a great decision by being a part of YCC. I've been in for 3 years. It's been one of the most impactful things for me personally, through friendships, in my career, and just folks that I've gotten to know. I'm very thankful for it, and specifically government affairs, best kept secret, frankly. Being the government guy, I feel like Austin and I should have bags on our heads with everything going on right now. Not proud of that, but really we are. I'm really proud of those that work in government affairs, and it's been a great opportunity to get to work with industry and company leaders. And so we'll have an opportunity to sign up for our subcommittee, and then typically we have a trip to Austin during the legislative session. Of course, that's not happening this year like it normally does, but we're gonna find a way for those that would like to be involved to be able to. So looking forward to meeting you. Thanks.
Go ahead, Ty.
So again, I'm Todd Davis. I am heading up the Community Development Committee. Something that we haven't necessarily done the greatest job of in the early years of TEXO was channeling the efforts of its 200 plus members and using that to volunteer and donate in our community. We all have a special subset of skills with all our companies. We kind of know what we can do to best benefit the community given those skills. So what I in the Community Development Committee is trying to do is expand our efforts. Last year, we helped build a tiny home to donate to a veteran. We finished that up in March of last year. And then followed that up, COVID hit. We had grand plans for last year to kind of dash our efforts, but nonetheless, we still put together a backpack drive and a food drive. For the backpack drive, we donated over 100 backpacks for kids in need. To go back to school with, and then we donated over 4,400 meals around Thanksgiving last year. So this year we're looking to expand on our efforts. I would love to have as many people on the Community Development Committee as we can. The more the merrier. We're looking for help in any way we can. So we meet quarterly on the third Thursday, 7:30 in the morning, we do Skype meetings, but I'd love to have y'all join. We have big plans moving forward. We want to kind of put the use of all 270 members and volunteer hours and donations add up pretty quickly with that many people. So look forward to it, and hope y'all will be interested in joining the committee and working with me to help out in the community.
Caddy?
Hey guys, I'm Caddy, I'll be leading the Women in Construction Committee. This is a new subcommittee. We'll be meeting every third Thursday, and we'll get more information out to you guys as we get it. And the whole goal is, to not only create an environment where women in construction can talk and share their experiences, but also potentially look at growing opportunities and creating those relationships. We'll also have something planned, this is all TBD, for the week of women in construction, so look forward to getting more information.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Again, Brandon Mercer. So I'll talk to you, so the YCC Initiative Committee, what does that mean? We nickname it OCC, Old Contractor Council. So right now, you guys are pretty young here in the room, early in your careers. As you work through YCC, the big purpose of this is the networking and learning, sharing experiences and what's going on in your project or in your industry and how can we work against, with each other to overcome these challenges. Well, when you get to the end of that, 35 years old, 40 years old, we're tapping out at 40 now. It's back to 35.
You know, special exceptions.
Not one of those exceptions. So when you get to that point, you're pretty set in your career. Well, what is YCC offering you anymore? That's when you move over to the Legacy Committee. And we're going to teach you those soft skills to get across the bridge, to get into those executive level positions. We'll do that with, we have a strong contingent of old YCC members that are all C-level guys now. They're all willing to keep coming back and mentor us. We'll have small subcommittees, sub-meetings, breakfasts, lunch, sometimes happy hours, depending on what happens with COVID, how often we can meet. But in those meetings is when we're gonna learn those soft skills, how to get to the next level.
Justin?
Hey guys, so one of my favorite events that we do here at YCC is the Texo Tailgate. It's every October. We do a meat cook-off, chili cook-off. There'll be washer tournament. You can stay late, you can stay tonight. It's just a really fun event, a lot of networking. I need a lot of volunteers, so if anybody wants to volunteer, just get with us.
Appreciate that, each of you. Just to kind of recap, because I know it's going to be a lot of information all night, and even every meeting is kind of a pretty quick clip. But just to recap those committees, we've got the Media Committee, Texo Foundation, Government Affairs, Community Outreach, Women in Construction, Legacy Initiative, and the Tailgate Committee. So as this night goes on, if you're interested in any of those, find those individuals. We're going to have sign-up sheets. We want to get volunteers. We want to get y'all plugged in. And if you miss it tonight, next week at the full member meeting, we will also have sign-ups there. Or if you just need to get some information and think about it, talk with whoever you need to talk with about the commitments that might be associated with that, you can sign up next week as well. But that's really the goal. With that, we do got next on the agenda some frequently asked questions. But I want to also, I realize that only some of you guys made it to the bar. And so while we are waiting for some of our speakers to get here, because they may be coming from other locations that we start at 5:30. Let's take a quick break, restroom break. If you want to go get a drink, the bar, you pass it when you came up the stairs. You can orderly go that way, use those drink tickets, and then we'll get the rest of you guys fed. We'll start chewing a bit, and then we'll get back to the questions. Thank you all.
Maybe. I didn't get it. You have to have your ID. I walked all the way back out there in front of everyone, and she was like, I need your ID. Like, she would give it to me.
She looked at me and she was like,
so does it look like I just like couldn't be alone?
Angelique,
and go with
Angelique, she looked at me and she was like, you're too old. Just keep talking.
that was just silly.
Maybe nobody? I could call my mom.
So it's supposed to be live streaming from the computer, but then we had Bennett and me both try to log on and watch it, and it was being stupid. But I don't think it's because of our procedure. Everyone's having trouble with the internet, like in the Wi-Fi. So we did all the right steps. We think that it will work if we do it in a place with a better connection. But we're recording it on an iPhone, so I can just upload this raw video to YouTube and send it off. Yeah, I just talked about it. Yeah, I've been delivering a video for the Association of Realtors tomorrow. I told Michael I could have the collection of committee. That way you start to that'll be perfect.
I'll see the we hit it at the beginning, but thank you. Yeah, we'll do that before we get back. Awesome. Yeah, I think that is.
Oh, pretty good. How's it going? How are you? What have you been up to? What are you working on? Okay. When did you start that project? Oh, so like it's been like a year. Oh, really? That's I see. I realize it's January. Yeah, I'm still at Keurig Dr. Pepper. Just trying to wrap it up. We're hopefully pulling off set by the end of next week. Yeah, it's been long. I took over in July, so it's been a long journey. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I spent more time this job. Looking back, I think I spent more time in this job actually than SMU. Because I think I was at SMU from June, like mid-June to January, but like right. It was really more to like December. And this one I've been since like the very beginning of July. It's almost the end of January. Like that we'll be finally getting off. I'll probably still be messing with it for at least another month. So it's definitely the longest project I've ever. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready, but I don't know. With like all projects, like I feel like I always get along really well and make friends with like GC and the owner. Everybody gets super comfortable, and so it's kind of like I like having that, you know. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, yeah. No, I really don't. I have like a little job that I'm working on, but I really don't. There was supposed to be like a job that was like it's like 1.2 million or so that was at Oak Cliff Municipal Center where I did a job previously for them, and again, like the people out there really like me, and I like we knocked that job out of the park. Like I was able to get a job done like a lot faster and cheaper than I expected, and so I thought for sure they were gonna go, like, I thought they were gonna be like go like we want to join, like we want to do everybody the same thing again, but we want in the exact same thing that you do, but we're just gonna do 3 more of that, and they gave it to me. They gave it to me last second. So I don't know where I'm going. Told Robert, like, gotta figure it out soon, because I pretty much run out of hours now. Like he's busy? Yeah, maybe we'll divide and conquer. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. They're due in late March. Late March. That's gonna be really fun. Yeah. He's excited though too. He's really excited. Like Seth thinks the opposite of this. Like he sees like work as like a fun thing. Like yeah, it's like oh, I'm gonna have babies. I'm gonna be best at it. No, everybody else like has tough time. I know I'm gonna kill it. Like I love how he like looks at the challenge. No, we just walked right in. What else? What else planned for the week? You what? Okay. So I won a few. I actually won like 3. Yeah, I did. I beat Melissa, and then I beat the guy who beat that team, and I beat one more. So I had like all this like half, and then I lost, and then I was like 1 away. The next guy for me was like the final. It's crazy how quick that happened. It was like really fast.
We already got through that. So yeah, after the speakers, we're just letting people go now. Go kart.
Oh, we are gonna get through that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a good thing Colby's there. Colby like smoke everybody. There's no chance you'll win. Do you remember when we went and did that? He literally was so far ahead that he almost set like one of like the records or something. I don't know how he did it. Yeah, how he did it. I'm also, so, oh wait, yeah, about the YCC. Remember you came with me in the past? So they had something like, they had something right now. And like Cal and Kyle were texting me. And I think Colby called him. And I was like, nah, I'm going to YCC. And I was like, I'd love to hang out with you guys though. And he's like, yeah, we'll probably be the cooler friends. I don't think you got to meet Cal for that long while we were over there. I don't remember. I was telling her that YEA was tonight as well. She already knew. And
Were you
then
with that one too?
she came. Was it the first time you went? Was the first?
Okay.
That was
Did everyone go, or do you have to be
when I brought you, right? Yeah, that thing is not like this. It's more of like a. It's not like this at all.
Like,
It's like
how's it different?
like you don't like pay to be in it or anything. It's like, and it's more of just like a like.
Okay, my question was like, do you have to like
No,
do everything to get into
no,
it? Like,
no.
You can just show up.
No, you just show up.
Bro, let's go.
It's just like if I were to tomorrow be like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm starting like JCC, Julian Construction Council, and then anybody can come, and then once a week. What?
It's not sponsored.
No, they are
Oh.
different vendors. They take turns sponsoring. Cal sponsors a lot of them, I know, and then I don't know what other vendors. Every time I go, it's like either like it's like always really Oh.
Oh, yeah, she just finished off for the
Wait a little bit.
If you guys haven't got food, please go ahead and grab some. Just make sure you grab your plate.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait a little bit first, and then I'll get some.
You're good.
Thank you. Yeah. Did you get some sliders?
We had sliders, some chips. There was a few fries left when I was up there.
A little bit.
But I got caught without the seat, or somebody took my seat back there, so.
See James Harden's going to pick it up. They're literally they're literally like it's like a blockbuster trade. Like there's like all these different people that make it. Yeah, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie all on the same team.
I heard that Kyrie's like a cancer.
But they're already really good with Kyrie and KD, and now they're going to be really unstoppable. I mean, they're not going to be unstoppable, but they're really good. It's a super team. They formed a super team. I don't remember though if the Nets are in the same conference as are the Nets? You know the Nets, are they in the West or the East?
The Brooklyn Nets?
I would think they'd be in the East.
They have to be East.
But they don't know it. They don't divide it necessarily, literally by like geographic location.
I feel like they're far enough.
Dallas is in the NFC East, and we have nothing to do with the East of the United States.
But we're in the middle. It's close enough to the middle.
We're literally in a conference that has Philadelphia, New York, and Washington, and you're trying to in Washington D.C. And you're trying to say that we are like.
Yeah, because we're still in the middle.
No, it's not by geography.
I think it is.
No, not always.
Why would they call it East and West if it wasn't geographic?
That's what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not perfect.
I got to look at what I've been here.
I haven't noticed this.
All right, hey, so I know there's a lot of people still getting drinks and stuff, and if you want some food, feel free to get seconds. We don't want to leave anything left. I've got Luke here with us ready. He's got a few announcements as well. We touched on, but he's going to go into depth on it. Make sure everyone's lined up for the activities after this.
Thank you. First of all, welcome.
I think it's
my name is Luke. There are a few of me throughout the room. If you need anything at all, please do not hesitate to ask us. We'd love to educate you on how we do things here and what you guys have planned for this evening. That being said, we do have an itinerary, pretty planned out schedule for you. We are done here at 6. Pretty much as soon as that's over, we're going to take the first group of 20 of you to laser tag. Before we get into all of that, there are a few things that we need to do. Obviously, 20 of you is the max for the laser tag, so the rest of you will be at the bar using your free tickets or using these plastic game cards. These game cards are over here on this table here, to the remainder of the name tags and the waivers that we all need to sign before we do our race. That being said, we have waivers over here. So y'all signed a waiver for your event, waivers that y'all provided. We have waivers ourselves for you to ride on the track. We need you to fill those waivers out if you have not. There's a big stack of them down here. Like I said, if you have any other questions about any of this, please let us know. We'd love to assist you any way that we can. Y'all have a blast.
While you're doing that, you guys are eating. I just want to give this time to kind of do any questions that you have. And then if we're good, we'll roll right into our speakers. I see Melanie back there. Hello, thanks for coming. And Randy as well, Humphries. So thank you for coming. But are there any questions that you guys might have? I know some of you guys may be familiar with YCC or with Texo. And I'm going to punt on all the hard questions, just FYI. But if there's anything easy I can answer, I will gladly do so. Or maybe you're just here, you're not sure why you're here, because your boss said, go. And that's cool too. Welcome. We want you here. But any questions? Or just enjoying the food? All right, well, you're lucky. I came prepared with 2 questions of my own. Question 1, if you could give any advice to someone just joining YCC, what would it be? My advice to you all would be, step outside of your comfort zone by stepping up into doing something you typically would say no to. Do it. There's an old YCC, Tyler Burns. He says it best. He says, this is probably one of the few places in your professional career where if you screw it up, there's really no consequences. Right? If you volunteer to participate in something, I'm trying to think the worst thing that could happen here is, but nothing comes to mind, right? So challenge yourself here. I mean, there's really not too much downside there. You want to get out of your comfort zone because you want to grow as a person and as an individual. So we've got the committees up here for everyone to join. If you're on the fence, do it. If you're undecided on something, err on the side of action. That would be my advice to you. The second question, what are some ways to get plugged into Texo outside of YCC? As you'll hear shortly with Melanie coming up, Texo is a very big organization and YCC is a big part of that, but we're just a single part of that. There's a lot of other Texo opportunities out there for us. One of the avenues we're trying to do as the YCC is to expose you guys to as many of those opportunities as we can. The Texo Foundation on the YCC side pairs up with the Texo, the big foundation board. They've also got relations with the high schools and the colleges and the trade programs. So there's a lot of things outside of that. Melanie will go into detail on those, but if you're interested in stuff outside of YCC, there's a lot that's out there. Any questions other than my 2? What do you got, Turner?
I got an invite for next week's meeting. How is that different than this week's meeting?
That's a good question. Great question. There'll be less talking next week. Next week's meeting is at venue 4050 in Addison. And it's going to be kind of a little career fair-ish, so to speak. We're going to have Stuart Shutcliffe come speak. He's a former YCCer, was one of the founding YCC members. Now he's a partner at a law firm. Give us just some shared insight on what the value of YCC was for him in his career. And it's going to be come and go. you know, the size of the group and what we're doing. If you've already signed up, if you've already heard all this stuff next week, come and go, meet some new members, meet some new friends you make tonight, say hey, ask how their job's doing, you know, give each other an update, and then you can head out. That'll be 5:30, 7:30. So I guess that's a bad example. Next week will be a little bit similar. But the month after that, we're actually going to Top Golf, so that'll be pretty fun. Good question. Any others? All right, if not, then Melanie, I would ask for you to come up. This is Melanie Rainey. She is the CEO of Texo Proper, so give her a big round of applause as she comes out.
Make sure I stay 6 feet. 6 feet away. Hi everyone, I'm Melanie Rainey. It's just so nice to be in front of people. I love it. I'm sure everybody who's come up here has probably said that, how nice it is to just be in front of people again. And what a cool group of people that you guys are entering the YCC program with. So congratulations on being installed in the YCC tonight. So how many of you would say that you are pretty familiar with Texo? Raise them high, come on. Okay, so very, very few. That's actually really, really awesome. What a great opportunity that we have to bring you guys into Texo and let you know a little bit more about what we do tonight. And then as you're in the YCC program, build that relationship with you. So we are your construction association. So you guys are actually in the construction industry. Every day you're focusing on your projects and your owners. And Texo is actually the watchdog, is what I call us, for your industry. So our job is to watch out for you guys and to watch out for this industry. So we are part of two national associations, AGC, Associated General Contractors, and then ABC, Associated Builders and Contractors. And we're actually a joint chapter here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you have a project in Austin or in Atlanta, Georgia, they have an AGC chapter and they have an ABC chapter. And here we have Texo. So we're actually a merged chapter of both of those national associations. And before coming to Texo, I was at a general contractor, and every day I would look at my project and I would look at the schedule and the bid and the specialty trades and work with the owner, and that was my job, that was my career. It's what you guys do probably every single day. And when I came to Texo, it was really eye-opening to realize how many things affect the industry, the construction industry. And so that's how I describe what we do, is we actually take that step back and we work for all of you guys. I feel like there's something really cool going on here. I like it. So I'm gonna try to distract you from the total gym happening up here. So we do three major things. I always put them in three major buckets. The first one is the safety department. We have 5 people solely dedicated to safety. So we have safety classes every single day. We do safety training, all sorts of safety training. We do job site audits, safety manual reviews, whatever you guys really need for safety. We probably have the resource for it or can go to a national association and get it for you. So safety is a big bucket of what we do. The next one is professional development and events. So we do leadership training, professional skills training. So the way that we are going to make the construction industry better is by making every single person in this room better. And the way that we do that, and the way that your companies do that, is by investing in you guys and investing in your training and making sure. So your companies have invested in you to be in this room because they see a lot of potential in you and they see a lot of leadership. Right there. You can hear me?
I think it died.
Did it die?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Where's Luke?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you guys. So the professional development training is a big aspect of what we do. Like I said, the fact that you guys are in this room means that your companies and your CEOs think a lot of you and have a lot of, they think that there's a lot of potential in you. And so they're investing in you to be sitting in this room and to be sitting at a Texo program. So congratulations on that. And with professional development, we do a lot of events. That's really our fun networking piece. So we do a golf tournament, a clay shoot, a large YCC tailgate, clay shoot, and a bass tournament. So those are our 5 major events that we do every year for our members. And then the third major bucket is governmental affairs and advocacy. And this is always the hardest bucket to describe what we do. But TEXO on the local level has a lobbyist that is solely dedicated to working with municipalities and code boards and fire marshals and making sure that we are clearing the roadblocks for you guys whenever you come face to face with them. So advocacy is a really big bucket. And like I said, one of the hardest things to describe we do as a company, but last year became very apparent what TEXO's role was in this space when COVID hit. And when everybody was trying to decide what was going to shut down and what was going to stay open. It wasn't the individual companies that were sitting in those county judges' offices or sitting with those city councils to decide what was going to stay open. It was your associations. And so we were partnered with all sorts of associations that were having these meetings, and thankfully your owners and even probably some people in this room were sending us things that you guys were doing on job sites, how you were keeping your workers safe, how our standards were actually stricter than CDC standards. And it was your associations that were sitting in those rooms that were fighting for you guys to stay on the job sites. And so it's actually given us a lot of examples of the advocacy bucket that TEXO provides to the industry. Our Texas legislative session started yesterday. Filed. And of those, about 600 would affect our industry in this room. So guess what we're doing right now? Working bills and figure out which ones would hurt us, which ones would help us, and then which ones do we want to advance and actually try to get them to pass. So, and 18 billion of that is texting. What are you seeing? What are you fighting? What's a hurdle? And that's what we gather as trends. And then that's what we take. He's a employee of TEXO and then myself. And then all of the steering committee members are volunteers. So we have about 500 volunteers like them that dedicate a ton of time to TEXO to build committees like this. It's really hard to compete with a basketball game. Can I just say that? Especially in this room. But so anyway, we have 13 people on our team. What we want to do is build relationships with you guys, because hopefully 10 years from now, when you're running your office, we can come sit in your office and be like, remember when you were in the YCC program? And we have that relationship with you. And that happens now. Like, we'll go meet with people and they were in YCC 10 years ago and they're now running their company. That is a very real example that will probably happen with hopefully all of you. So is there anything else I wanted to? Again, it is a huge compliment that you're in here. You have to be nominated to be in this program. Oh, there's a mic somewhere. You have to be nominated to be in here, which kudos to you, your CEO or your office manager, or out of the YCC program. And you'll probably hear from some of the other people that their best friends have come out of this program. They were in their weddings or they were there right after their child was born. Like, deep relationships can be built in this room if you invest in this program. I have no doubt about it. I see it happen every single year. So you're going to get out of it what you put in, and then you're going to make our industry better out having you guys in the program. And I'm sure I missed some stuff, but I'll cover to Brent. And then afterwards, we can probably answer some questions if you have any.
But Melanie talked a lot about what TEXO was and kind of how it serves the community. But there's an arm of TEXO called the TEXO Foundation that really provides the educational resources, the training, and also the retaining resources, as I mentioned earlier, to bring the brightest and the best individuals into the DFW Metroplex. Like, all of you right here in this room fall into that category. Right? You were all recruited by somebody, you're all brought back in the DFW area. Whether you grew up here or not, we're glad to have you here. And obviously your companies think the world of you too to have you in this room, right? So the TEXO Foundation, what they do, those 4 pillars we build off of. So YCC, we help to support the foundation. The foundation a couple years ago, they were saying, man, we have all these events, we're struggling to get volunteers. You know, we're struggling to get manpower. We're struggling with just the efforts that were put into it. And Ben and some other people were sitting back in the room and said, well, hell, we've got 250 individuals sitting here in YCC. Why can't we be that support arm? And so that support arm is how the Texas YCC Foundation chair position grew. And so that's the volunteer efforts that we go to help the foundation. And there's a couple to do what they want to do. Is Melanie already mentioned it, the clay shoot, you know, the bass tournament, and stuff like that. You know, they all require quite a bit of manpower to actually make those successful. And so we pull volunteers from YCC to help that out. Now, as far as the educational piece, there's two different pieces of the foundation where they really in that. Actually, three now. You've got a high school committee, a college committee, and then the community committee. High school and college are really where my two passions lie. And I'll tell you a little bit of a story here of kind of what drove that passion for me. Back in like 2015, I went and did a speech at Tykes Elementary, far southeast Dallas. Very low income area. A lot of those kids didn't really have hope to go to college or whatnot. So I'm up there, it's a career day thing, speaking with a bunch of doctors, lawyers, you know, veterinarians, everything that it takes quite a bit of college to go to and be successful at. And I show up with like this little mini X, a little blade, you know, bulldozer, talking to the kids about, you know, the trades and how that's a very reputable industry to go into. How construction is, you know, an industry that you can have an amazing life, amazing pay, you can play in the dirt every day, which I kind of love. And then, you know, still go home to your family at the end of the day. And you might not have to have that college education. Now, granted, pretty much the same for y'all as it was for me when I was going through high school. A lot of times, you mentioned, yeah, I'm thinking about going to construction. Your teachers kind of look at you like, really? Like, why do you want to do that? Like, your tiny house build. You know, we've got, I think, about 13 high schools around the Metroplex. There's an individual that's assigned to each one of those. But what we go do is actually get with the students. We start helping them build the tiny house. We'll go do speeches with them. We're actually working to put curriculums into those schools. All right, instead of going and studying, you know, maybe biology, the construction sciences, stuff like that. So bringing those curriculums into those schools is something that we're really working towards. And using our efforts to show, hey, you know, this is a path I went. You could do the exact same thing. You know, is really where we're looking for volunteer efforts. Collegiate-wise, we do a thing every year. It's in February called the student competition. Anybody in here go through the student competition back in when you were in college? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. So that's a really cool, and there's one of the, which part? Oh, design build. That's right. So the students are getting real world volunteer at that event as well. But also we go and talk to colleges that are getting into the AGC. I'm sure most of y'all in the major ago. We went actually last year and we're able to talk about Texo, able to talk about the foundation. It will talk about the DFW construction market and how it's really just going to benefit us all as a whole. So those are a couple different options that we've got. Really, it's looking for the volunteer efforts that support the foundation. But also one other thing is those committees to really, if that's something that interests you as well, come see me later and we can talk further about it. But that's really how YCC helps support the foundation, their efforts, and just bring the best and brightest into the DFW Metroplex for our industry and help you guys out as well.
And welcoming Mr. Randy Humphries.
I'm going to take my mask off. I apologize. if it offends you. But, hi, I'm Randy. How are you? Company in the industry for the long term. About 30 years ago this year, I was involved in ABC, Associated Builders and Contractors. Actually involved also G. Paul Holloman, whose son is in here tonight. My brother-in-law's little sister. And so G. Paul is actually my nephew's uncle. So all here in the room, it's a big family perspective. So can y'all hear me okay, Melanie?
Yeah.
This has been a really interesting year for me. And I'm an open book. So if y'all have any questions, I told Kyle and some of the others, just stop me and tell me, hey, whoa, let's talk about that. In March, I was hospitalized with COVID for 11 days. And so the board and the individuals on my exec left me on the text chain while I was in the hospital. So I was reading what they were saying. It was great. It is something to be praised. November, just recently, and she was a huge part of the industry. She was involved in the construction, more or less the Texo Foundation, the efforts. The Construction Image Awareness Committee reached out into the high schools trying to tell people, instructors and teachers, hey, careers in construction are great. Let us tell you what they are. So that's a brief overview, but I want to get into some details and share with you. I hope not to bore you, but you know, if you do, you get bored, it's okay. We're living through some of the most dynamic times in our world. Social unrest, political unrest, the COVID vaccine. I'm looking at one of the most dynamic young groups of individuals in the construction going to have a benefit for either good or for bad. Everything that happens, want to change the industry, the control to do it. You as individuals sitting in this room and employees, if y'all said, hey, Sodalco wants to start a program and Wednesday is going to be Green Shirt Wednesday in construction. We're all wearing a green shirt. We could affect the entire nation by doing that. And that could start from your idea in here. A lot of what's going on with YCC, guys, ABC National, y'all know, Melanie told you we're part of two associations, Associated Builders and Contractors, Associated General Contractors. ABC's national program has a lower number of young professionals than y'all have involved in North Texas. The group in North Texas is more dynamic than the nation. We get good things and bad things. Years ago, I was listening to a preacher called Tony Evans. His name's Tony Evans. That's why they call him that. He said, makes a screwed up home, makes a screwed up community. In the same light, when you share a smile with someone, that can affect our nation. You can share a smile with someone, they can walk away with a good mood, their community, change someone's life. That's a big deal. And as I share with you and I think about and talk to you, you're in a room with individuals. I've watched my parents, Greg Wilkinson, at my wedding, whether it was involved with my parents, whether it was Jerry Mills, who started Mills Electric and was a big factor in the industry, talking to my children. There's a life. Now, 20 or 30% of the people in here, they're going to go away in a different industry and maybe do something else. And you're still going to be their friend. And you're still going to have that connection because it lasts a lifetime. You guys for a really, really long time. The networking of what you're doing is huge. I feel like I'm young. I'm 52 years old. I was talking earlier that I think I'm 100% over COVID. I really, they're like, Randy, you're 52. I mean, some of that stuff starts to fade anyway. Man, I'm 52. That's crazy, because I was sitting in your place several years ago, maybe 30. And I was the chairman of ABC before we merged into associations at 35. And when you all start moving people out to the bigger group, it's really fun. As I consider myself middle ground, because there's some really old folks around, and I'm old, I get it, but there's some really old folks around, and then there's some younger folks. And so I think I'm in the middle ground in that big picture. But it's fun to watch, and it's fun to see the networking in the whole picture. I want you guys to, it is not that. From my efforts in doing what you're doing today, I can pick up the phone out of my pocket and call state representatives. I can call national representatives. I can call owners of large construction companies. I can call many of your CEOs and say, hey, can we grab a beer? Can we do something? I've got an idea. We want to try something for the industry. And we've tried crazy things. So don't let your youth or your young perspective in some people's idea hold you back. Throw the ideas out, even if they're stupid, even if you think they're stupid. I pitched, you think about, you've got this networking deal and you can call people. Well, I'm lucky enough to be second generation, so a lot of the people in the industry know me. I could pick up the phone and call people around the industry and say, hey, we're going to get this idea together and we're going to go to the Texas Motor Speedway and we're going to start recruiting construction careers. And this is 20 years ago, so it's before the big crunch and it became popular to talk about careers in construction. So I pitched this idea to ABC National that we're going to sell Hot Wheel cars, but they're going to be in the shape of a truck and they're going to have the construction logo on the side of them. And we're only going to have to sell 800 of them at the value we're going to do. And we're going to sponsor David Starr at Texas Motor Speedway in the Craftsman Truck Series. We're going to have all this stuff done. We're going to do it. And I got all the way to the national committee and they were like, hey, tell us what you're thinking. I mean, this sounds cool. How much do you want? Oh, $2 million. I know that those in, and it was before safety was a big deal and I became the safety officer for the company. I was in the ditch making backhoe, didn't dig up the telephone lines as we were crossing. So tons of fun. It was really awesome. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. One of the biggest perspectives I think I've gathered, I was a communication major at TCU, and we did Rusty Rose's house electrically as I was a safety officer. And I went out and I was doing a safety audit. I had no idea who Rusty Rose was. He at that time was part owner of the Rangers. It was a really cool house down on Turtle Creek, little sky view, walkway that goes out so they can view the stars and stuff. Walking around, he walks up to me and he sees my hard hat with my name on it and he says, so you're a student at TCU, what engineering are you studying? I thought, time. People and how in construction we can't communicate, and that's the biggest problem. Communication degree, cramming 6 years into 4, I got a little bit of a BS mode. Whether you see the Bible as a history book or Word of God, or when God stopped the Tower of Babel, He didn't take away their ability, didn't take away their toes, their fingers, any of those things. All God did to stop the Tower of Babel was confuse their speech, and construction stopped. I was talking to one of the individuals, and I can't remember where you are, but we were talking about schedules in construction and the legal aspect and how that impacts us. The biggest problem we have today in building work is not the ability to build it, it's the ability to communicate about it. Whether it's GC to sub, engineer to project, owner to GC, however you look at it. And you own your communication. So make sure that, that you pay attention to your communication. Own your communication and don't blame somebody else. I talked to you a lot about my association involvement and that I grew up in the association. I had no choice. At 11, I was at my first national association for construction industry, much like this, but on a national level. At 13, I was probably walking the hill in Washington, D.C., or being drugged with my parents, along to go see congressmen and senators. And I think I did that with couple of points about the association world I want you to all gather and know before you leave. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. You guys are in construction and you get it. You know, if you're picking something up, you'd rather use a chromatal rope than a string, right? You guys are bound together. You all work for different companies. You all have different roles. Some people, anything from insurance to attorneys, to general contractors, to subcontractors, to specialty, to schedulers, to planners, to whatever the picture is. You guys as YCC, I'm the old guy. I watched the church be outran by the youth group. You guys are more dynamic than Texo has a chance to be because of your energy and what you're capable of doing. When you tie together and you put those strands together, it's not going to stop. The most dangerous thing in the construction industry is an uneducated competitor. So encourage your competition. If they're not here, you ought to get them to be here. If you go to another contractor that's not there, you ought to get them in because of the in the office. They set me aside. During all that, we almost got shut down. Had we not known the person that was and known him well, when the governor said we're going to shut down, he would have said, okay, but instead is so much greater than the cost of training. Encourage your subcontractors to train, ask questions, don't run off by the seat of your pants, take your time. Associations are a great way to learn. I think somebody quoted Tyler Burns, which was actually a quote from Frank Dale, who he worked for a day. Get used to doing it. It's a pain in the butt, and everybody ought to do it. Every time I do it, I think, man, that was a horrible year. Can't believe the person, your environment. They're going to come back.